Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am back today with an old-fashioned foundation review. Y'all, I love foundation reviews. I feel like next to my favorites videos, they are the most viewed videos on my channel. Foundation and bronzer are my two favorite categories of makeup. If a new foundation comes out, I am likely going to try it in some form or fashion. So when the brand new Lawless Conceal the Deal Long Wear Full Coverage Foundation came out, I was very eager to try it. And I was actually sent this from Lawless and Octoly, which made me very excited. And this is not sponsored or anything like that. I am just going to try out this foundation for you, let you know how it works. I'm going to do one of those OG wear tests. So I'm going to come back at the end of the day and show you how it wore on my skin. I have tried this a few different times with a few different powders. So I'll speak on that in my final thoughts as well, but let's go ahead and jump into using this brand new Lawless foundation. Now, I am going to put a little bit of corrector under my eyes, but before I do that, I wanted to come on with absolutely nothing on my skin other than my skincare so that I could do a close-up and you could see kind of the before that we're working with my skin today. I used the Matte Screen Supergoop SPF, which I spoke about in my favorites, which was the last video I posted. It comes out with a little bit of a tint, but it's basically enough tint to make sure that the zinc doesn't have a white cast. So I don't have like a tinted product on my face at all. All right, so I have no filters on this camera, okay? I wouldn't even know how to work them if I did, but I don't. So this is my skin. I do have a little bit of redness on my cheeks, always have, always will. You can see it's really just right here on my cheeks. Other than that, this is what we're working with. This spot right here is what I tend to use as my kind of marker for how full coverage a foundation is. So now we can go ahead and jump into the foundation. You might be able to hear Chad in the background. He is on a conference call right now. So he's just a little guest that doesn't know he's a guest on this video. Okay, so this is the packaging for the foundation. It comes in really simplistic, basic packaging, which I appreciate. This is the standard one. It says 1.01 fluid ounces, but it's 30 mils. And there are 28 shades. Now, to be fair, this is not Lawless's fault because I chose a shade that I thought would work for me and it's too light. I chose Sesame, which according to Sephora's website is for light medium skin with a neutral undertone. I should have gone with the medium skin with a neutral undertone because this is just a little too light. Now, when I apply it, you might say, oh, well, it blends in with your face pretty well, but I self-tan. So my chest and my arms are darker than my face. So that's why I like to tend to go a little bit darker with my foundation. This is a liquid formula. It claims to be full coverage, natural finish, long wearing. It is a clean at Sephora product and a vegan foundation. It says it's for all skin types. And if you're new to my channel, it's one of my pet peeves when foundations say they are for all skin types. It is rare. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is rare for me to say that a foundation is perfect for all skin types. It may work for all skin types, but it's going to lean one way or the other, in my opinion, for being better for oilier skin, combo skin, normal skin to normal to dry skin. But we'll see how I feel about that claim. This has ginger extracts, soothing anti-irritants, suitable for dry sensitive skin. It's got goji berry, which is rich in vitamins for anti-aging. It claims to blur pores, smooth texture, and cover imperfections. It's silicone and talc free. So as you can hear, it's got one of those little mixing balls in it because it is a very thin formula. Let's pull the hair back and I'm going to show you, if you haven't seen, see how thin that is? I mean, it is quite liquidy. So you can see it running down my hand. I've had thinner foundations for sure, but it is still thin. I forgot to put my corrector on, so let me do that real quick. What I will go ahead and say is that I find this works better with a brush versus a sponge. I find most serum-like foundations are that way. I feel like the thinner they are, the easier it is to soak up into a sponge, meaning I'm having to use more product, and I just feel like a brush works better. So this is the color. I just like to kind of, as with most foundations, make some little dots around my face. And then I'm going to go in with my BK Beauty 101 brush. And like all foundations, I like to just press it in. You can see the shade is definitely lighter than I typically use. I mean, I can work with it. I can bronze up my skin. It's not going to be an issue, but it does. I mean, it's pretty much a perfect match for my actual face skin. It just doesn't match the rest of my body. So pressing it in. So that is with the foundation, and this is without. I do find that the claim of a natural finish is correct. I feel like this is not too luminous. It's definitely not matte or flat matte. I do think it is a good, natural, skin-like finish. I know that because of the nature of the serum-like consistency, that the squeeze bottle is going to be the easiest way to have a product like this. But I do kind of wish it was in a pump, because I either don't squeeze out enough or I squeeze out too much. And if I don't squeeze out enough and I go back in to squeeze out more, I end up squeezing out too much. That makes sense. Pumps are just easier for me to know exactly how much to use. Okay. So again, just press that in. Real pretty natural finish. Let me put a little bit more on, or little bit period, on my forehead to even everything out. Is the area of my face where I need the least amount of coverage, but I do want to make sure it's all the same color. Out of all the brushes that I have used, this one is my favorite. I feel like it gives the most coverage. It makes this foundation the fullest coverage that it can be, in my experience, upon first layer. Now, I don't have any more that I'm able to get off my hands, so I'm going to put a little bit more so I can show you whether or not it builds up. And I feel like just right here, I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but I can see a little bit of my redness right there. So I'm going to put in just a tad more. And when you're building up foundation, it's essential, in my opinion, to tap it like this and stipple it versus buff, because you have that layer of foundation under it that you don't want to disturb. So that built up really nicely. I felt like I didn't have as much redness peek through on, well, a little bit this side. And then I'm going to put a little bit on that spot to see if I can build it up there. I was able to build it up on that spot, but that spot is not completely gone. I do have, I feel like, some foundations that will cover that. So while I do think this is a nice medium to full coverage, I don't think it's full coverage, at least not on me. So let's do a close-up of the foundation on the skin. I mean, when, you know, I can see natural highlights to my skin from my lighting, but it's not overly dewy. I certainly have way dewier and more luminous foundations in my collection. So it went on really easily, as you could see, and it has a good natural finish. Let me see. I feel like my pores look the same. Like, I don't feel like they were necessarily blurred anymore, but we'll see how it wears throughout the day. So let me finish up my makeup and I will be back on to show you how that looks. And then I will skip to the very end of the day, give you my final thoughts. Okay, so I have finished up my makeup. I will list everything that I have on down in the description box, but I did use my Too Faced Primed and Poreless powder, which is kind of like my go-to when I do foundation reviews, because I feel like it works with every foundation. So I know that it's not the powder. If anything goes wrong, it's more of the foundation. So it's just what I choose to use the most. So this is what it looks like. I did use a little bit more bronzer than normal because, again, I just felt like it looked a little sallow on my face, a little more fair than I am used to using, but everything goes on great over it. Everything blended over it really well. Again, I don't find that my pores look any different than they normally do. So we'll have to see whether or not I really think the claim for pore blurring is a thing, but I am going to continue on with my day, wear this throughout everything I have to do, and I will be back at the end of the day to give my final thoughts. Okay, guys, it is miraculously for you half a second later. For me, it is 10 hours later. So I have had this foundation on for 10 hours. I have done a normal day, nothing overly strenuous. And I will let you know I did not go anywhere that I had to wear a mask. So when you see some of this stuff, it's not because of that. I'm just letting you know that right off the bat. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and let you see my skin. This is what we're working with. I hope you're gonna be able to see. So I don't know if you'll be able to. Right around here, on the tip of my nose, on my chin. Hope it's noticeable. It is completely wearing off or it is bunching up. Does not, I mean, it's like gone and it almost looks like there's dry patches on my chin. I really hope that's coming through. I have not touched up or anything, so I do feel like it's kept its natural finish. It's sinking in pretty bad. It's a little bit of a patch right here that's gone. Forehead doesn't look too fresh, but the main problem areas are my nose, the sides of my nose, and my chin. And it is kind of bunching up right here. Y'all, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And I understand it's been 10 hours, but here's the thing. It looked like this probably about 4 hours ago. So around the 6-hour mark is when it started to kind of separate and bunch and look kind of dry and just come off. Like looking in my mirror behind the camera from far away, it looks fine. But if somebody were like right in front of my face, they would be able to see what I'm seeing. This foundation claims to be self-setting, so it technically is marketed to say you don't even need a powder. I have worn it without a powder, and it does the same thing. It just doesn't last to the 6-hour mark before it does it. When I wear foundation, I have every intention of wearing it longer than 6 hours. I put it on in the morning and I need it to stay on for the entirety of the day until I wash my face later that night. I don't mind having to touch up a foundation, but I want it to wear nicely. And I have multiple foundations that will look the same as it does in the morning when I apply it, at night when I wash my face. So the fact that this for me only lasts a good 6 hours before it really starts breaking up and just not looking very good on my skin, unfortunately makes it a no-go for me. If you are someone who only wears their foundation for like 6 hours, you may very well love this, because up until that point, I really did like how it looked on the skin. And I have the previous times as well. I liked how it looked even more when I mixed in my Lila B Golden Aglow Face Primer. I've talked about that and I like to mix it in with foundations. I did that one day to see how it would mix, but also to give a little bit of color and warmth to the foundation, since for me it feels a little light. I liked how it looked on the skin a little bit better that day because it looked a little bit more hydrated. I know this claims to be for all skin types, but I do think if you have dry to super dry skin, it may not look the best because of how it is acting around my nose and how it's making my chin look. That's the conclusion that I'm making because of that, is that I think that it is not going to really play that well on dry patches. I have not had active dry patches while testing this foundation, so I cannot speak from experience. It's just what I am guessing is going to be the case from how it is reacting on my skin. I do think the claim that it is a natural finish is correct. It stayed, again, like that all day. It did not get too luminous. And despite what it's doing around my nose and chin, I don't really feel like it got more matte either. I don't feel tight. It didn't feel like it's sucking the moisture out of my skin, nothing like that. I would say it's more of a medium to possibly medium full coverage rather than a full coverage. It is definitely a very lightweight foundation on the skin. Being a serum foundation, I don't feel it sitting on my skin at all. So that is definitely something to put in the pro column. I feel like the natural finish is something to put in the pro column because I really do think that it's very pretty. And because it has that natural finish, I feel like you can really manipulate it depending on what primer you use. You can make it more matte or you can make it more luminous. You could also do that with the powder you put on top. It blends well with everything that I've tried. I've tried creams on top of it. It has blended well with those perfectly. It doesn't lift the foundation or anything like that. So that's another thing to put in the pro column. I do think the shades are a little off. I do not find that the shade I got is truly a light medium. I feel like it's more fair to light. So definitely think about that when you are purchasing a shade if you decide to give this foundation a try. So I would put that in the con column. And then, you know, the main con is just how it wears for me throughout the day. It just does not look good after a set amount of time. I need personally for my foundations to last a little bit longer without breaking up. So that's in the con column as well. So technically there's more pros than there are cons, but the cons outweigh the pros. So that is my thoughts on this foundation. There are mixed reviews on Sephora and a lot of people absolutely love it. So please don't take anything I say as meaning you aren't going to like something or that you are. I'm just one person with one face. So I'm just letting you know my experience. If you have tried this and have a different one or the same, share it with us down in the comment section below. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any additional comments, be sure to put those down in the comment section as well. And I will list everything that I have on my face or that I have talked about with links down in the description box below. So thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you're all staying happy, healthy, safe, and sane, and that most of all, you go out and have a very blessed day.